Let's share the link, shall we? Let's share it on Twitter. Let's share it on Facebook wall for the No Limit stream, and let's stream it on my actual Facebook wall. Yes, we got it. I'm wearing a new shirt today. I love it. It's orange, and I got it from H&M, and I'm really happy. I am forgetting something. I'm forgetting the actual chat window. So give me a second. Let me just get that. Did I share my link? Yep, I didn't share the other No Limits page, which I do that sometimes. Let's see, stream chat. I've got one user in the chat. Pop out. And we got this. Okay, so I'm going to continue reading Spider-Man. What's it called? Spider-Man Spider Hunt. It's a really good series of comics, and I'm loving it. So the next comic I'm going to read is called Spider-Man Identity Crisis, which is where Spider-Man decides that being Spider-Man is a bit difficult at the moment. So he goes to the drawing board with his wife, and they create a new identity for Spider-Man. Well, maybe more than one new identity for Spider-Man. It's one of those Spider-Man comics that not many people know about, and I only found out about it because I read about it in the Spider-Man Encyclopedia when I was a child. I was 12 years old, I think, and I was really happy to have that Spider-Man Encyclopedia. I learned about all kinds of weird characters like Cloak and Dagger, and the fact that Spider-Man's parents were created as cyborgs to psych him out. It's one of the many things that either Mysterio or the Chameleon did. They're very confusing villains. They're very similar in the stuff they do in the plot. Okay, so I'm not expecting many viewers today because it's the second part, and maybe there'll be a few people continuing, but I find the first part is way better for viewers. But I'm going to have some fun with it, and I'm going to enjoy it. Just do me a favor if you're watching this on YouTube, though, because my YouTube presence is very low at the moment, and I don't really mind so much because I know I'm growing, and hey, this channel's been a big success in my eyes in terms of my progress. I've been really enjoying it. But yeah, please like this video if you like it. If you like at least 5 minutes of it, give it a like. Please subscribe if you can, if you're not subscribed, and please leave a comment. I'm not expecting you to watch the whole video. Watch as much of it as you like. Even if you watch 1 minute, I'll be happy with that. But yeah, just give it a like and subscribe if you can, because I want to try and build a community. I know how it sounds, but yeah, I want to try and build a community of people that either like Spider-Man or computer games, and we can chat about stuff. And the more comments you leave, the more things I have to talk about on my stream. So you don't have to if you don't want to, but do me a favor, if you do Auntie Rob No Limits a favor, go ahead and like this video if you're watching on YouTube. But I've been talking for ages now, so today we're listening to Neon at Midnight, which is a really weird chill wave mix. It's all kinds of songs that I'm not going to bother going through. It's done by someone called Mood Wave. I recommend you check this out. It's really good. It tells you the track list here. I'm not going to bother going through that. Perhaps I should. But I'm credit where credit's due. Check this video out. So let's get started. It's really weird because this guy's running around this circle while this giant head is watching him, and it's very ominous. In the video it says, "Evil is coming. Your only choice is to run through the neon fields with the upper shadows." It's terrifying. And the artwork is done by someone called Kid McGrath. So yeah, it's a great piece of music. Let me just have a quick sip of water and I'll start the music. That running guy is so weird. Let's look at him full screen for a moment. Yeah. So I visited the comic shop today and I bought Spider-Man and Deadpool, which I wasn't expecting to like as much as I did. It was very funny and I enjoyed it. I'm always a bit skeptical about Deadpool because his sense of humor is quite immature. But it's just pure fun. I had a really good time, and it did actually develop both Peter Parker and Wade's characters. I can't remember what Deadpool's full name is, but it developed them quite nicely. I also picked up this book called The Visions because I was looking for Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, and I was recommended this because it's quite an ironic version of the whole family of superheroes, because Vision creates his own robot family, and it's awfully weird, I hear, and I like weird stuff, so I'm gonna read it. It's going to be very artsy and very depressing, and I love those kind of comics sometimes. I love Watchmen, and I love all kinds of graphic novels that are really artsy and weird and tell a serious point. I really liked Hulk Silent Screams, which is a very serious topic, a very sad topic that was covered, but they did it in a really clever way, and I was really impressed by that. I enjoy Spider-Man comics because it's a chance to unwind and read something that's non-pretentious and doesn't have literary ambitions, but it can end up being quite literary and deep and interesting. So you don't always need to go for a high art perspective in comics to give people something to think about, but I like it when comics are attempting to be high art because in terms of the way they're drawn, they look beautiful. Especially, look at just looking at the art in this comic, it all looks beautiful. This cover in particular, it looks hyper realistic but really weird, and I just love the colouring and the inks and the way things are drawn in kind of art house comics. I do love a Marvel comic that tries to be an indie comic. It's interesting. Anyway, Spider-Man Prelude. This cover is really misleading because the Sandman is not a villain in it. He's actually a good guy. Speaking of the Sandman, I read this month's Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man. If you like the Sandman, I actually quite like the Sandman. He's a good character. He goes through phases of being a villain or a hero, and he's quite a likeable guy. Especially in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, where he has the same voice actor as Bender from Futurama, which is magnificent. But yeah, misleading cover, excellent. Well, it's not really an excellent issue. The thing about these Prelude issues that I'm reading for the Identity Crisis Prelude, leading up to the next event, is they're okay. They are kind of overshadowed in this volume by the Spider Hunt stories, and they're overshadowed in the next volume by the Identity Crisis stories, but they're fun and they're a light read. Sometimes they're a light read. Parts of them are light. Comparatively, compared to the last story, it's gonna be a relatively light read. Anyway, I'm gonna just get on with it now. I've extended the wrong screen. So let's begin. The Parker household, where Anna Watson engages her young friend and neighbour, Hope Hibbert, in some early morning before school signing practice. Okay, that's woman. Now show me man. Okay, so is that the... I've got an aunt that does sign language. Maybe I could consult her to find out, but I'm sorry, I don't know sign language. But let's go for this. It would be a cool skill to know. Very good, sweetheart. See, and you keep telling me that this was going to be boring and unnecessary. Good morning, Peter. Morning, Anna. Morning, Hope. Has anyone seen my black bag? Peter, Hope says that you have to sign. Good morning to her. That's what she's doing. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Good morning, Hope. I hope you have a nice day. Ah, Peter, you just signed my head is full of bacon. Well, yeah, I knew that. Are you done with this morning's bugle, Aunt Anna? Yes, dear, be my guest. Gotta run, see you guys later. Alright, young lady, let's try some of the hard ones now. Hope, what's the matter, dear? Spider? Oh, Spider-Man? Yes, honey, I know. Spider-Man's bad. Can you believe this? So the newspaper says Spidey suspect in kidnapping. And I love how the serial says Stan Lee presents the sensational Spider-Man. That's really clever. Signs of the times. Peter. It used to be that Jonah was the one responsible for the editorial lambasting Spidey would face all the time in the Bugle. But now that Norman Osborn has slivered into a controlling position at the paper, he uses it every chance he gets to diss Spider. I mean, he accuses me of being in on his own son's kidnapping, even though they have actual videotape of the Green Goblin. You know something, Peter? I don't care anymore. I'm sick of it. All of it. I'm sick of all the garbage with the Bugle, of Norman Osborn and his malicious little Machiavellian games, of this insane bounty on your head. And yes, I'm even sick of Spider-Man. I mean, when do we get a break? Come on, let's go. We're gonna miss the bus. See ya, Aunt Anna. Bye, Hope. You two have a nice day. Mary Jane, all I meant was Petey. I've already told you. I don't want to hear it. Meanwhile, in a seedy 2-bit rented room in the Bronx, where we find the always mercenary Maury Bench, aka the notorious Hydro Man, enjoying a leisurely bath. Actually, he is the bath. Yeah, that's Hydro Man is made of water. I guess he can be the bath. I don't know if that would wash him, but it's an interesting idea. Does he put bubbles in his own water? I don't really want to know. Having discovered years earlier, following a bizarre maritime accident, that his entire body had taken on a new state, that of a living liquid. Jeez, why do I even go to San Fran for? The Daily Bugle's offering $5 million to anyone who bring down Spider-Man. Interesting fact about Hydro Man, he was in the Spider-Man comic, in the Spider-Man cartoon, quite prominently, because they didn't have the rights to use Sandman in the original Spider-Man cartoon because he was going to be used in one of the movies. And incidentally, years later when they made Spider-Man 3, I think that was maybe 7-8 years later after the Spider-Man cartoon started and it eventually finished, and that's when they brought him in. But they made effective use of Hydro Man, who's basically very similar to Sandman. They're both just as dangerous as each other. And I just did it a couple of weeks ago for free. For $5 million, I'll be living large for a good long time. All I gotta do is tsunami that stupid wall crawler, which I'd gladly do for nothing. That is a very, very funny placement of the newspaper there. Interesting fact about, not a fact, but something that's always confused me about both Sandman and Hydro Man is, why do they want to steal money so badly? What are they going to do with money? I mean, they could just, they don't need to eat, they don't need to drink. Why do they need money? It's fascinating to me. Like, a lot of these supervillains that were bank robbers in the original Spider-Man, I don't know why they would need money. I think it's just a really obvious thing for bad people to be doing in comics since the 60s, and I think it's just caught on. I think it might be a running joke even now. But the problem with that Spiderhead is that you never know where he's gonna show. You gotta do something to get his attention. Throw him out. Oh yeah, that's it. Spider-Man, suspect in kidnapping. That's what the Daily Bugle says. The Simcarian Embassy in New York, where we find Silver Sable, I'm not pronouncing that right, I don't think, the Simcarian ambassador and leader of the elite criminal retrieval unit, the Wild Pack, along with her teammate and confidant, the ever-shifting Sandman. So, in the 90s, Sandman was a good guy until his death in the early 2000s. He does come back later in the comics and dies again. But it's cool to see Sandman as a good guy. I actually really like Sandman's character. They did some really good stuff with him in the 90s, and when he reappeared after his death in the mid-2000s, well, in the mid-2000s? In 2010 during the Civil War. I don't know, Sabe, do you think Spider-Man's really doing all of these things? I mean, I know better than anyone what it's like to trying to change your rep. papers make the out like to be whatever they like. But murder? Kidnapping? That don't sound like Spidey to me. Well, the Spider-Man I know would have nothing to do with any of those things, but maybe we should go and see if this is the Spider-Man I know. Later that day at the New York Daily Bugle. Yo Pete, where were you the other night? I waited outside the theater for like... Dope. Man, Billy, I'm sorry, I totally forgot. I got so caught up in that Osborn kidnapping story that it just slipped my mind. Dude, it's okay, although you did miss an excellent flip. Hijacked a busload of people to the copyhead. Hey, let me make it up to you. We hit the grind for lunch? I'll buy. Dude, yes. Billy's a good guy. I feel really upset when he always gets turned down by Peter. I know it's not Peter's fault though. He's can't help it. He's Spider-Man. Dude, yes, there is this sweet new waitress down there, and I'm telling you, she will be mine. Peter Parker? Yo, Pete, yo, dude. What's the frequency, Kenneth? Right over there. Oh, sorry, I was just wondering who that. Dude, that's her. That's the chick that's been scoping for you. See Sensational Spider-Man 21 and 24. Yo, man, you gotta introduce me. Hi, I'm Peter Parker. I understand. Wait, I know you, don't I? Desiree? Wasn't it? Was, and still is. That's a good memory you have there, Peter, seeing as we only met that one time. I don't actually know who she is. I think she's someone who knew Ben Reilly during the Clone Saga, and I know next to nothing about the Clone Saga apart from what I've read about it in the Spider-Man Encyclopedia and on Quora. So yeah, I don't really know who that is. My Spider-Man knowledge is 70%, where it could be 90%, but it's all good. Okay, let's see. Apparently confirmation, but they think it's the Hydro Man guy. So this guy's just been talking about the story in the background. Well, actually you do. I haven't seen you since Ben died. Back in the controversial Revelations storyline. That's this Clown Saga. It's like I know things. Since then, well, I've discovered something about... what kind of things? Since then I've, discovered something about myself. This is going to sound so odd. I don't want to call it psychic or anything, but I issued a statement that unless Spider-Man shows up within the hour... Things I shouldn't, Peter. I felt it when Ben died, like I was with him. Is Ben Reilly a new type? Is this a Gundam connection? I know how close you and he were. That's why I'm hoping you might be able to help me with these. I don't know, these feelings, help me understand them. I know that you died a hero trying to help Spider-Man, but I don't start drowning them one by one. Listen, Desiree, I'm sorry about this, and I really do want to talk to you about it, but really, I just remembered something that I gotta do, urgent. I promise you, I'll make it up to you, but get used to it. He does it to me all the time. Poor guy. And a short time later, in a section of the Bronx known as Parkchester, where having taken hostage a busload of civilians and commandeered a community water tower in which to keep them, Hydro Man makes his stand. Just shut up, balls, yes. I don't care how girl and scared you are. You're the bait. I already put out the welcome map for Spider-Man and let word out that he better make an appearance. And I'm telling you, if he don't show up soon, one ear's gonna drink it. Now just shut up and maybe do a little praying for your Arcadian intervention. Gah! You know, Maury, I would have thought that you'd be dumb as a box of hammers. You'd have that dumb as a box of hammers being fixed by now. Don't you know that when you issue a statement to the news telling Spider-Man to come and save all your hostages, everybody else hears it too? Sandman, back off, Marco, lest you want to be mixing it up with me again. So Hydro Man knows the Sandman by his old alias Flint Marco. Sandy and Hydro mixed it up, combining into one mad and muddy guy back in Amazing Spider-Man 218. Wow, I think I might give that issue a read. That sounds interesting. That's before, it's just a little bit before Roger Stern took over at the comic. And I read all of Roger Stern's comics from the 80s. So good. Bring it on, you moron, but I got your number this time. Interlude. I maintain, Your Honor, that my client is innocent. The man you see before you is a rational, innocuous old man, totally harmless. Certainly not the same man who committed these alleged crimes. He is an elderly gentleman who has been through an incredible ordeal, who now dreams only of spending his few remaining years enjoying a well-earned retirement. I ask you, Your Honor, given his age and frailty, what threat could Adrian Toombs pose to society? Look at him, man. Oh, this wholesome smile, but it's the vulture, man. Shortly. My thanks, my dear. You were splendid in there. I'm just glad you're happy, Mr. Toombs. Now that you have your freedom, you must be anxious to start a brand new life? Yeah. Yes, a brand new life awaits, although there is one last annoyance from the previous one that still requires my attention. Yeah, obviously he's going to go and hunt Spider-Man. Vulture usually does one of two things, tries to steal jewelry, or tries to fight Spider-Man. I guess he did fight the Vulturians who stole his designs in Web of Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, but that was that was revenge, so that's pretty much similar motive. Okay, enough of that. Let's go back to the action. Here at the scene where the apparent standoff has been ended by the unexpected appearance of... Hey look, it's Spider-Man! I love it when they do the old logo of Spider-Man. It's one of those lettering touches that I love. It's just like when Doctor Doom introduces himself as Doctor Doom and they have his name in big lettering. It's one of those things I've always loved about Spider-Man comics. Thanks, buddy. All I wanted to do was swing by undetected while Sandy keeps Hydro Man occupied. Arrival of Spider-Man taunting anyone interested in collecting the Daily Bugle's bounty. And maybe get a chance to free the hostages. But I doubt that's going to happen if they keep yelling, "Look, it's Spider-Man!" That must be the way in. What? Spider-Sense? Are you kidding? I'm trying to save a busload of people, and some jerk's trying to make a fast million? Only in New York, so every time Spider-Man appears, there's someone shooting him. That's the classic in the Spider Hunt story. Out of sight, out of the line of fire. Wow, there's a lot of them. It's alright, folks. The ever-amazing Spider-Man is a killer! A murderer! He's here to kill us all! Well, take it easy, everybody. Don't believe everything you read in the Bugle. I promise I won't kill you. And I also promise that I'll get you out of here. But you gotta listen closely. Shortly outside. I've always hated sound effects in comics, but I'm having a great time with it today. Man, what was that? It shook the whole tower. Those two muscleheads must have hit one of the support struts. Ah! 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 The whole tower's starting to list. We're gonna go down unless... Got it. That should hold us for a little bit. Okay, everybody, just take it slow. Don't panic. We'll be out of here soon enough. There, I got it. If I can reach. Poof! Someone in the van just crashed through the gate, Dan. This is incredible. And inside, at the angle it's at now, no one but a Spider-Man could climb that ladder. I'll have to come up with another way out. And I think that way is down. Man, this water's cold. Okay, let's see if I can do this right. You know, if this were 60s Spider-Man, he would be saying all of this instead of thinking it. That's one of the things I love about 60s Spider-Man. It's so wholesome and strange like that. Let's see if I can do this right. Moments later. Oh no. All of my hostages are getting away. Sable should be set up by now. Time to pack it in. Okay, Mari, it's go time. What? Are you... Wait! What the freak are you trying to do to me, you freaking freak? Don't merge with me, you idiot. Cut it out. We'll get stuck that way again. I don't think so, Maury. I told you. I got your number. Hit it, safe. With pleasure. Mate, that is cool. This is one of the reasons I love Sandman when he's characterized as a hero, because he does cool stuff like that. I really love that episode of Spectacular Spider-Man where Sandman became a hero towards the end of the episode, because Sandman, deep down, he's a great guy. He's one of my favorite characters in Spider-Man. He's one of the few villains I actually like, although I quite like Dr. Octopus after Superior Spider-Man. I'm quite attached to quite a few of the villains, actually. Even the Vulture, I quite like him. And Norman Osborn, when he's not the Green Goblin, is such a dangerous villain. It's great. He is. Wait. But I don't get it. You just froze your pal? He is being paid overtime. Nice. Spidey, by the authority of the NYPD, I order you to surrender. You are wanted for questioning in cases of assault and murder. Are there any more hostages in there? Yes, you. Easy, take your time. Man, this fight rocks. Here I am, risking my neck to help these people, while I'm simultaneously being surrounded by a bunch of tough guy bounty hunters. Not to mention New York's finest. All because Norman Osborn's made this town too hot for Spider-Man, and I can't just slip out. This woman's unconscious and possibly suffering from hypothermia. Gotta get her out of here now. Spider-Man, release the final hostages and come out now! Man, this guy wants Spider-Man so bad he can. Hey, that might work. I hope it works. A few minutes later, they're looking for Spider-Man, so they won't be paying any attention to Peter Parker. This is a really clever idea. Spider-Man doesn't do this that often, but going as Peter Parker to help get the hostages out when they're not really paying attention to him is quite a clever thing to do. Just had to snag my webpack off the roof, change clothes, and huh? Who was that? Hold your fire! Hold your fire! One of those trigger-happy bounty hunter guys can't wait for Spidey to show his web head. With my spider-like reflexes, I could easily twist and flip, land gracefully, but then they'd know. They'd see that I'm Spider-Man. Have to fall naturally, make it look like I'm— Ow! My ankle! This is the kind of thing he did in the 60s all the time as well. Deliberately mess up so people wouldn't think he was Spider-Man. I love it. I love it when stuff like that happens. It's very silly. Ow, my ankle! How many more? We were the last ones. There he is! It's him! It's him! Get him! This is brilliant. Cease fire! Cease fire! Jeez! That'll be enough. The next man to fire a weapon will be arrested and charged. We've got him, sir. I think he— It's not even him, it's his web stuff, sir! I love it. There's a lot of thinking outside of the box in this chapter. I didn't pay attention to who wrote it, but whoever wrote it, I had their thinking cap on. We've been decked! Later that night, at the warehouse workshop of Hobie Brown. Interesting thing about Hobie Brown, by the way, he was— I'm just going to get— 1 second. I tried really hard to not buy this yesterday when I was at a comic shop because of Edge of Spider-Verse wasted most of my money and I was at a real comic addiction when that happened. But I got Edge of Spider-Geddon, which has the punk version of Spider-Man in it from an alternate universe, and this Spider-Man is actually Hobie Brown, who was the villain, the Prowler in the Spider-Man comics, and he later became a hero. And he's quite a cool character. It's an interesting thing. I love how the Spider-Verse comics have small little references like that. But maybe I know I've got a lot of useless Spider-Man trivia in my head, and I love it. Inventor, electronics engineer, sometimes superhero when he takes to disguise as a mysterious Prowler. But tonight, he's just working. He looks a lot younger as well in the Spider-Verse. Hey Hobie, I didn't want to startle you. Mind if I drop in? Anytime, buddy. My secret hideout's your secret hideout. What'd you do to your ankle? Oh, I guess I just landed on it the wrong way. It's just a sprain. Listen, I wanted to thank you for that timely assist last week. Hey pal, forget about it. After everything you've done for me, I'd so Sorry, I'd do anything to. That's a misprint. It says so. It should be do. I'd do anything to repay. Actually, Hobie, I might just take you up on that. There's something that you might be able to help me with. Next issue. Don't miss the drastic decisions, the dangerous developments, the daring directions. All of that in 30 days. Also, loot, loot, loot. So that in 30 days. Well, not 30 days, but the next issue of Sensational Spider-Man is going to be the Identity Crisis story, and it is a treat. And the character that appears in that story, the Looter, is great. But that's not going to be in 30 days. That's going to be either on Wednesday, unless I feel like streaming a computer game. I was thinking of streaming Celeste, or Saturday, maybe even Friday if I'm not doing anything on Friday. But I probably will. Who knows? The Amazing Spider-Man, Nowhere to Hide! I love that pun because it has Dr. Hyde as the character. Let me take a quick sip of tea. So we're looking at The Amazing Spider-Man now, because one thing I love about the Spider-Man events is they go throughout all of the Spider-Man issues that are out at the time. So at this time there was Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man, and the Spectacular Spider-Man. No, Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, and the Sensational Spider-Man. Now, in the Spider-Man comics at the moment, although the Edge of Spider-Verse comics don't really count, because they're not, well, they are a kind of continuing story, there is the Amazing Spider-Man and Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. I'm really sad. I think the next issue of Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man might be the last one, because Zdarsky is stepping down from writing the series. I'm hoping they get another writer, but I think with I had this discussion in the comic shop today, but with Amazing Spider-Man at 2 issues a month, I don't think that Marvel are willing to hedge their bets and having 2 Spider-Man series. I mean, they've got Spider-Man and Deadpool running at the moment as well, which is actually surprisingly good. I didn't expect it to be so good, but I'm trying not to be cynical about comics these days. I'm trying to just enjoy them, and if I don't enjoy a comic, just not read it. You know, life's too short to be cynical about comics, I think. Notice, Spider-Man's not in this chapter. Who's this guy in a hoodie? We'll have to find out. Just like a quick sip of tea. How are we doing in the chat today, everyone? Feel free to ask me a question. The chat doesn't pop up on the screen, but I can read it, and I'm happy to answer questions. You can ask me anything Spider-Man related or non-Spider-Man related, and I'll read it when I get a chance. Okay, let's go. The Long Farewell. The popular press calls him Mr. Hyde for reasons too obvious to enumerate. His real name is Calvin Zabel. A former medical research scientist, Dr. Zabel developed a chemical formula which instantly triggers a physical transformation that encompasses his entire body. Though his strength is many times the normal man's, he still has his share of problems. Take shopping, for instance. You can't imagine how difficult it is to get a decent suit in his size. This sounds like a Seinfeld joke. Gosh. Thus, he usually visits stores during off hours. His situation regarding attire is rather desperate at the present time. As you can see, he had a recent run-in with the Hulk and was forced to abandon all his luggage when he leapt from a plummeting airplane, as shown in Hulk 458 for those who had the money to read all of the comics, which I don't recommend that. As great as it sounds, it will make you very poor. I've tried it before. It's hard. Okay, stick to one hero you like. Find a friend who likes a different hero. Switch comics with your friend. That's what I'm trying to do at the moment. My friend Calvin got the Captain America comics. I've got the new Amazing Spider-Man comics. I'd love to have a session where we can switch them with each other and enrich our lives. With practiced ease, he snatches anything which even approximates his massive frame, and then, after his watch injects him with his special serum, he begins again, albeit with a greater eye towards fashion and fit. Better hurry. The store's silent alarm must have altered the local constabulary by now. I still have to visit the luggage department, pack up my selections, and be on my way. Looks like I barely made my exit on time. Being on the run is getting to be a habit lately, and I hate it. We should have thought about that before you did crimes, mate. It's time to reevaluate the current course of my life, but all I want to do now is find a comfortable place to stay. while I try and collect the fee which the New World Order owes me for going up against the Hulk. Even as Dr. Zabo races off in search of suitable lodgings, we'll turn our attention elsewhere. Any hot ducks looking after you, Miss Stacy? Awesome gossip time. Or did they stick you up with the geezer patrol? Give me the dirt, girlfriend. I've got my heart set on an Eric LaSalle type. I don't know who Eric LaSalle is. I'm sure he is a handsome guy. Don't make me laugh, Chantal. Please, have mercy on a sick girl. Talk to her, Mary Jane. So that's Gwen Stacy's cousin. I can't remember her name. I think it's... I just said her name. It's either Liz... Oh, Jill Stacy. Okay, it says that. Okay, Jill. I tried to convince her to settle for a Dick Van Dyke. Sold, but only if he's rich enough. Girls gotta have some standards. Is this what you ladies usually talk about? I never realized you were so shallow. You want shallow, Peter? Wait till I upgrade to a George Clooney lookalike. I think George Clooney was playing Batman around this time, maybe a bit earlier, so that's a pretty, that joke might have some levels. Maybe. You're terrible, Mary Jane. It's a good thing your husband knows you're joking. By the way, I still have to thank you two for this great snuggle me, smile, face doll. It was the least we could do. Talk about an understatement. The poor woman was shot in our house. Which happened in Peter Parker, 87. I've been a real washout as a friendly neighborhood web slinger lately. Not only have I failed to get a line on who attacked Jill Stacy, but the police suspect Spider-Man of murder. The Daily Bugle posted a $5 million reward on my head. I was almost beaten to death by the Black Tarantula, and I recently sprained my right ankle thanks to a gang of vigilantes who were trying to claim the bounty. Oh, you're so hard on yourself, Peter. You're a good lad. Come on, Peter Parker. You're my hero. You're my buddy. Don't be so hard on yourself. Half the people in the city look at Spider-Man as a walking lottery ticket, and the others are terrified of... Hey! Someone's entering the room. Oh, it's only that criminology professor. Marina catches and her flaky boyfriend. What's his name? I don't know who that is, or who that is, but I'm sure he's going to be a villain later, because that's usually what they do in Spider-Man. You seem to be in good spirits, Joe. I hope that means you'll be returning to class soon. I could be released within a week to 10 days, Marina. It's so nice of you and Mr. Rigoletto to visit. Dante and I can only stay for a minute, but I did come for a reason. Dante. You also looking for an upgrade? No surprise there. Chantal, I brought you copies of the lectures you've missed. And I assume this private joke involves illegible doctors? You ever watch ER? I love it. Love the banter there. It's great. Rigoletto, why does that name sound so familiar? I'm sure I've heard it long before I met this dude. How's it going, Dante? I'm Peter Parker. We met at a dance at Empire State University. Did we? I don't remember you. This guy's a prick. Excuse my French. My wife is in Marina's class, and I'm a graduate student in the science department. No, you still don't ring any bells, but I do seem to recall this charming child. What a creepy guy, man. Who says stuff like that? Why am I not surprised? Nice to see you, Dante. I'm afraid Peter and I have to scoot, people. We have to go home and change for a party tonight. You take it slow, Joe, and keep me in mind if you spot anyone who looks like you know who. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No problem, Tiger. He gets on my nerves too. I can't understand why an intelligent woman like Martha hangs with such a waste, but I don't want to talk about him. I still feel so guilty about what happened to Jill. And there's someone looking through the door there. So I have no idea who this guy is because I haven't really done much forward reading from here since I was a kid. I started reading just after this arc finished, so I don't know. Well, no, around the time of the reboot, just after the reboot, when it was revealed that Aunt May wasn't actually dead and the Gathering of Five happens. It was just after this story, I think. It's a creepy guy looking through the door. Oh, and there's... No, that's just a person in shadows. It's not the Black Tarantula. It looks like it's supposed to be. I know what you mean, but I swear I'll find the man responsible. Oh, that really puts my mind at ease. You can barely walk, Peter. Much less swing on a web. I've got to say, I love what Peter's wearing this chapter. A purple polo neck and a leather jacket. So 90s, it hurts. Fantastic. Now guys, watch it. What do you want me to do? Give up being Spider-Man? In a word, yes. At least until they revoke that stupid reward. That spider in the center of your costume has become the target of choice for every amateur marksman in the city, and quite a few professionals as well. One of the weaknesses of there being 3 different Spider-Man comics at a time is they sometimes have to fill in the blanks with exposition that is there for the reader and isn't really what the characters would say to each other, because I doubt Mary Jane and Peter would have to have this conversation so many times. Then again, if they are concerned about it, I guess it would be something to talk about, so I can't really criticize it. I mean, if I had to give up being Spider-Man and I had a wife, I would talk to my wife about it a lot. I guess it would be an important thing. You've got to communicate. There we go. I'm really trying to be careful, Mary Jane. I know, Tiger. Heck, I'm not even wearing my costume tonight. I guess that's a start. As Peter and Mary Jane prepare for their previously referred to party, it's probably a good idea for us to look in on the guest of honor. Hold still! I won't warn you again. I mean it, Joe. These affairs are hard enough, blasted things under the best of circumstances. No one's going to say anything if I show up at my own farewell party without a tying offer. What are they gonna do? Fire me? I just want everything to be perfect for you. As Robbie, man, sarcastic dude. He's such a great character. All of the Daily Bugle characters are great. I like Robbie, Betty. I can't remember the names off the top of my head. Jonah. I'm a big fan of all the characters in the Daily Bugle. I can't seem to maneuver properly with this cast. Maybe you should wear a turtleneck. Relax, Martha. I can handle this myself. Since when? I've had plenty of time to practice ever since I resigned from the Daily Bugle. I've got to find a way to fill each day. He's been doing his ties. Mr. Robertson, this is not becoming. I can't have a fellow Rob practice doing his tie all day. It's not what I would do. I would just have a crappy tie. You sure you're okay with this? I know I'm the one who pressured you to quit. There was a time when I loved working for the Daily Bugle, but it's changed, and so have I. But that's only because you seemed so unhappy. Today is the first day of the rest of our lives, Mrs. Robertson. I can't believe we actually made it, Mr. Robertson. I keep thinking something would go wrong. An injured arm doesn't count? Not serious enough. Barely an hour later. I don't believe it. He lives. He breathes. He owns a suit. Kinda wild. I'm telling everyone to surrender. Truth is, I bought it for a bud's wedding a few years back. You certainly clean up well. Real nice, Mr. Walters. Least I could do for Robertson's farewell bash. He doesn't look like a teenager anymore. You should keep this look, Billy. I have some friends who might appreciate it. If they're half as pretty as you, I'm down. What do you say, Pete? Maybe we can double. I really wouldn't put too much faith in Mary Jane's matchmaking skills, my man. Uh-oh, my spider sense is suddenly reacting. Something or someone behind me. Odd, I'm sure that professional type is the one who set me off. But he doesn't look the least bit dangerous. Maybe all my recent stress has somehow affected my spider sense. Then again, there's always a chance that this guy isn't quite what he appears. My name is Calvin Zabo. I phoned earlier for a reservation. Oh great, another familiar sounding name. Where have I heard it? Figures, the line for the code check is finally filling out, but there's no sign of Peter. Did you see him wander off, Billy? Oh no, but he does it to me all the time. At least you aren't married to him. I hate using my real name. Oh, he's not Peter Parker. Why am I using his voice? I hate using my real name, but all of my false credit cards and fake identities were lost with my clothes. I doubt it will matter. You people know my real identity. I hope you enjoy your stay, Dr. Zabot. So do I, my dear. I won't. I wonder if I should follow this guy or... There you are. In case you've forgotten, mister, we're here to say goodbye to one of your dearest friends. Sorry, Mary Jane, I just got a little distracted. And hey, look who's here. It's Bill Urich and Meredith Campbell. Nice to see you guys. So I guess he's either Ben Urich's son or his nephew. I know his nephew became the Hobgoblin later on in the series, and I remember him having black hair, so he might be a different guy. I don't know. Yeah, you too. I told you this wouldn't work, Bill. Stay cool, Mary. Pete won't run us out. Is there a problem here, Phil? If you want to get technical, Mary and me don't really belong here. We came on the sneak to pay our respects to Mr. R. Sounds good to me. I'm sure our beloved publisher, J. Jonah Jameson, will gladly spring for a couple of former interns. Yeah, right. Knowing that cheapskate, it's a cash bar. Some superhero I am. It's bad enough I can't identify a possible pup, and now I'm guilty of aiding and abetting a pair of party crashers. Mary Jane could be right. It may finally be time for me to rethink this whole Spidey gig. That's kind of one of those 80s Spider-Man jokes that was like, alright, he can't be funny all the time. He tries his best. Let's move myself a bit. No, I'll stay here. Finally checking their coats, the Parkers enter the grand ball. Look at this place. A live band and tables full of free food. At most bugle functions, Jameson supplies the water fountain and expects everyone to bring his own paper cup. Be nice, Peter. You know how Jonah always feels about Robbie. It isn't going to be the same without you, Joe. Who are you trying to kid, Ben? It hasn't been the same since JJJ went into partnership with Norman Osborn. Joseph, this ain't the place to stir that pot. Maybe we should come back later. Joe and his wife seem to be in a pretty heated discussion with Ben and Doris Urich. And I can guess the topic of conversation. You say Norman Osborn and I'll scream. Norman Osborn! Eee! You call that a scream? I didn't want to upset the other guests, very considerate. I love the banter between Mary Jane and Peter Parker. It's a real shame about One More Day ending, well, kind of making their marriage never happen, because I think they're great married. That's why I've really enjoyed the Spider-Man Renew Your Vows comics, because it's an alternate universe where they're married. I wanted to buy volume 3 and 4 today, but they didn't have it at my local comic shop, and I ended up spending lots of money on other comics. That's what happens. Start smiling, Joe. Here comes our host. I'm surprised you don't have a drink in your hand. This is your night after all. The gala's costing me a small fortune, and I'd hate to think you weren't enjoying yourself. We're all having a simply marvelous time, Jonah. Joe and I are overwhelmed by your generosity. How are you feeling, Martha? Jonah told me about your arm. My doctor says it'll be as good as new in a few weeks, Father. Glad to hear it. By the way, Osborn sent his apologies. A family commitment prevented him from joining us. However, he did ask me to present you with this special check. An additional year's bonus from the Daily Bugle for all your years of loyal service. I like Joe, and although they're having a feud, he's still being nice to Joe and offering him that. It's really eating him up inside that Norman Osborn has taken over the newspaper and has kind of ruined his journalistic integrity. Because although he hated on Spider-Man, he did think he was doing it for a reason. By the way, J. Jonah Jameson has become really cool at the moment in Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man. And he looks cool as well, but not at the moment. Let's see. Oh, he looks really pissed. As the one in charge of the family budget, I'd like to convey our deepest thanks to Mr. Osborn. This money will certainly come in handy when Joe and I go on our second honeymoon. Honeymoon? We could barely afford one when we were first married, and we never had the time or money for a real one until now. How romantic. Where are you going? Joe wants to visit Greece and sail the Aegean Sea. I didn't pronounce that right. Oh well. Martha. Phew. Gotta give Martha credit. She managed to outmaneuver both Jonah and Rob. Strong, smart lady. Oh, virus threat and protection. Good, no viruses. Strong, smart lady. On some level, I guess I've been blaming her for Joe's departure. That's not how I see it. Much as he may have wanted to stay, the time simply came for him to move on. So the place where he's going on the honeymoon is going to be a useful plot point later on in the story. But I do not have the Gathering of Five story. I might pick it up even though I dislike it. I remember it not being very good. I remember loving it when I was younger. But I don't know. I'll revisit it and see. I'm probably going to love it though because it's a Spider-Man comic. And let's be honest. Let's be real here. It's rare for me to not enjoy a Spider-Man comic unless it was that weird one where Gwen Stacy was revealed to be having an affair with the Green Goblin. That got weird. It could have been a good story if executed well, but they didn't execute it well. A man's got to keep pace with the changes around him or he gets left behind. Sounds like you've been giving this a lot of thought yourself. The Bugle isn't a stable workplace these days. Phil Ulrich always sticks around. He's a great journalist, albeit an imaginary one. Speaking of work, I wonder if you can help me out with something that's been nagging. You ever hear about it, Dr. Calvin Zabo? You mean the guy who becomes Mr. Hyde? Got a pretty extensive file on him back in the office. And Peter, you alright? You suddenly look a little pale. Sorry, Ben. I just remembered something I forgot to bring tonight. My spider costume. Before the time's to leave it at home. But I can't ignore a menace like Hyde. He's a true monster with an uncontrollable temper. Maybe I should clue Mary Jane. Whoa! What am I thinking? I fought Hyde before and I could barely hold my own. When I was operating at 100% efficiency. It would be insane to go against him with a bum leg. Maybe I should just call the police. No, too dangerous. I'd never forgive myself if some poor cop was injured because Spider-Man failed to act. I've got to find a way to conceal my identity, and hey! That hooded sweatshirt which Phil Ulrich is wearing may do the trick. You should just have a hoodie of him all the time, you know. Good old Ben Reilly used to don a sweatshirt like this when he operated as the Scarlet Spider. God, how I miss him. Why did he have to die? This is not the time to be maudlin. I've got to concentrate on the task at hand. They do a really good job of conveying Peter's grief with the passing, with the death of Ben Reilly. It's really cool. You know, the final fight scene of the Clone Saga, where Ben Reilly and Peter Parker fight together to fight the Green Goblin, is really cool because Spider-Man's wearing his costume. I don't think Ben Reilly's wearing his costume though, and it just goes to show that he's so brave. He doesn't really care about his identity, just so he can help Spider-Man. I love it. It's one of the small differences, but it's funny how different their personalities can be after like 5 years of living different lives after being clones. It's cool. The hotel switchboard would release Cyborg's room number, so I'm going to have to find him the old-fashioned by using my spider sense to zero in on him. If he's settled in for the night, I can come back later, after I bring Mary Jane home and snag my costume. Otherwise, I'll ad-lib. Gotta tie this hood so my face is hidden in the shadow. I'm glad Phil Ulrich buys his sweatshirts extra large for the baggy one. That's a very 90s thing that you don't see anymore. Uh-oh. Gotta go real easy on my right hand. It's still pretty tender and I can't take much pressure. If only I'd brought my web shooters. I could swing around this building in no time, but it looks like I'm gonna have to crawl past every room until I get lucky. Though quite arduous, our less than costumed adventurers' efforts along the hotel's outer wall proved rather boring. So let's leap up ahead a few minutes. Of all the blasted luck, every number I have for the New World Order seems to have been disconnected. I doubt they're deliberately trying to cheat me. They didn't strike me as suicidal, always very confident, but that doesn't help me collect the money I am owed. Something tells me I'm going to have to upgrade my business practices before I... Wait! I swear I saw someone dart from the window, and we're on the 14th floor. They got one with talking on it. I'm going to change the music because it distracts me a little when I can hear voices from the music while I'm reading. Let's go to the next one. What's this? Night Prowl, Synthwave, Chillwave, Retrowave mix. It's got all the waves, so you know it's got to be good. So let's go. Sorry, I got a bit distracted there. I lost my chat. There we go. I've got the chat, the video. I gotta say, I love these animations here. So this is by Moodwave again. It's artwork by Kid McGrath, who did the artwork in the last one. It's great. I love the purple colors. I love it. It's very 80s, 90s. It definitely fits the mood. That's the thing with double screens. When you make one screen bigger, you don't know which screen, but you need to be clicking on the right screen. Alright, let's go back. F11. Comixology, by the way, is the greatest app. I would love for them to one day sponsor me. I doubt they ever will, but that would be great because I rate this service. They sell the comics at discount prices. Stuff like this one. Well, this one isn't out of print, but Identity Crisis, the next one's out of print, and the trade paperback can set you back £60. So why not just download it legally? You pay £8, you get to read the comic. It's fantastic. Something tells me I'm going to have to upgrade my business practice before I wait. I swear I just saw someone dart away from my window, and that we're on the 14th floor. You know what that means. Spider-Man. It appears the hotel's reception wasn't as vapid as she seemed. She apparently recognized my name and alerted the authorities. Pity, I was so looking forward to a good night's rest. What a paranoid guy. That was close. My ankle slowed me down a lot more than I thought. And I'm pretty sure I managed to duck out of sight before he... Uh-oh. So much for the subtle approach. Oh man, I barely managed to avoid that flying credenza. And without my web shooters, I couldn't prevent it from plunging into the street and giving some poor pedestrian the fright of its life. It's a miracle someone wasn't injured or worse. I know I'm going to regret this in the morning if I live that long, but I can't allow Hyde to endanger anyone else. Times like this, I really wish I had some kind of signal watch that I could use to call the Avengers. Heck, I'd even settle for the Grizzly and the Gibbon at this stage. If you want to see the Grizzly and the Gibbon, they are going to appear in one of the chapters in this book, and it's a really funny one. Out of my way! That elevator is reserved for me! Oh, come on! There's always room for one more, especially a sociable soul like myself. You're the one that was at my window. I don't know who or what you are, or what you want, but you'll rue the day you dared challenge Mr. Hyde. Wow, I'm impressed. You don't run into many people who actually use a word like rue anymore. Nice. Fool! You have doomed yourself by entering this cramped space. It's only a matter of time before you fall beneath me. Fall beneath my crushing fists. You tell me this now? Quick sip of water. I'm really feeling it today. I'm loving reading the Spider-Man comics. I'm having a great time. I hope you are too, dear viewer and or listener. Hyde's right. I have little room to maneuver, so I've got to make the best of it. Especially since I've got to protect my right ankle from further injury. Must trust my spider sense to warn me in time to duck his blows, while my spider-like speed and reflexes kick into overdrive. He's really selling his spider powers. I love it. I don't believe it. Nobody can move that fast. I'm getting dizzy just trying to keep up with you. But speed is no match for brutal strength. You'll tire eventually, and that's when I'll make my move. Meanwhile, on the ballroom level, I wish you'd stop pushing that button, Harold. It passes the time, Carol, so please get off my back. Oh no, I was hoping the doors wouldn't open until we hit the basement. But that's the ballroom up ahead. We're headed straight for Robbie's party. You're getting desperate, friend. I can feel it. But there won't be any last minute... Oh, it's wrong person talking. You're getting desperate, friend. I can feel it. But there won't be any last minute reprieve in your future. Bursting through the ballroom doors to the stunned amazement of those gathered to honour Joe Robertson, Hyde finally manages to grasp his squirming adversary and hurl him to the ground. Ha! I knew your fancy footwork would never prevail against me. This might not be the most appropriate term to mention, but you should consider carrying a breath spray. Wow. My god, that's Peter. I know I gotta be wrong, but that really looks like my sweatshirt! I love it. I love it. Love that misdirection there. You think he's going to say it looks like Peter Parker, but it's his sweatshirt, and he's upset that someone stole it to fight a bad guy. As you would be. Martyr, get to safety now. What about you, darling? I need to find a photographer, and fast. Good luck with that. Oh no! We were so close. Get a hold of yourself, Martha. I'm sure someone's already called the police. This can't be happening to me. No punk amateur who can't even afford a gaudy costume can take down Mr. Hyde. You've got to be somebody I know. Run, Joe, run! I always feared the Daily Bugle would somehow be the cause of your death, but I thought you were finally safe. Of course, the way you move. Your blinding speed and agility. I know you. Or does he know who he is? You're my old partner, the Deadly Cobra! Nope, not even close. I remember the issue where the Cobra was fighting Hyde, and Hyde like captured him, and I think tied him to Spider-Man. It's a weird chapter. That was one that's written by Roger Stone. Nope, not even close. Ah! Oh no! In his frustration, he tossed the baby grand piano way over my head, and it's on a collision course with the Robertsons. Their only hope is a free cushion ricochet, which should give me enough momentum to do my hero thing. Cue the applause. I don't even know where to begin to thank you, mister. Don't look up, because you might recognize me if you did, and I have more work to do. You think I can't take the punishment? Ha! I've gone one-on-one with the Hulk! Really? Let me guess who won. Oh, that was really careless. I was so intent on disguising my voice so that none of my co-workers would peg it, I instinctively lashed out with my injured leg. This really feels like a classic Spider-Man story. It's like all of the like seeing his thoughts and how long the writing is. It really makes it feel like a classic 80s Spider-Man story, and I'm loving it. The pain is almost more than I can bear, but I can't stop now. I must keep him off balance, wearing him down little by little until. By the way, speaking of classic Spider-Man stories, not from the 80s but from the 60s, if you get the issue of Astonishing Spider-Man, which you can find in newsagents, it's a Steve Ditko special to honour his death, and it has the best moment in Spider-Man from issue 33 where he escapes the wreckage in the water. Look at that scene. When they referenced it in the Spider-Man movie, it made me cry. It's like my favourite moment in Spider-Man. Even when I read it in the comic, I got a bit weepy. Tearing up a little just thinking about it. It's a great moment. Spider-Man has made me cry so many times. So it's like, as I say, I consider comics to be literature, and a work of literature has to be one of three things. It has to make you laugh, make you cry, or make you think. A really good piece of literature makes you do all three, and Spider-Man does all three every now and then. You know, not all the time, but it does at least one of them sometimes. And I hand it to Spider-Man. I love this series. You might not know this, guys, but I like Spider-Man. It's pretty good. Enough! There's no profit in fighting a human pinball. I'm going to find myself a nice, quiet little hideaway and... It's him! It's Hyde! Take him down! What a miserable day I'm having. I'm sure things will eventually perk up. I hear a stay in solitary confinement is rather restful. I better slip away and recover my shoes before anyone notices that Peter Parker missed all the excitement. Come to think of it, I better hurry, because I have one more job to do. Martha, I never realized the terrible toll my work was taking on. That's all in the past, Joe. Today really is the first day of our lives. The rest of our lives. I'm holding this hotel responsible for ruining our party and demanding a full refund. Jonah, this isn't the time to count pennies. We should be thankful no one was hurt. Bah! A ballroom full of editors, reporters, and photographers, and not one of them thought about tomorrow's edition. We could have featured Mr. Hyde's capture in an front-page exclusive, if only. I hate to interrupt you when you're on a roll, Jonah, but we still can. You see, I brought a pocket camera to snap a few keepsakes. Caught the cops hauling Hyde away. Yes! Sometime later, only you could turn a simple party into such a momentous and profitable occasion. Listen, Mary Jane, I'm really sorry about the way things turned out. I know you're counting on a quiet evening, but hush, don't you dare apologize. I knew what was in store for me when I married. Again, I'm just going to say, Peter Parker and Mary Jane are such a great couple. It's a real shame that they got retconned out of it. But that happens in comics sometimes. I bet they'll probably be remarried again one day. Who knows? You have a great sense of responsibility, and that's one of the many things I love about you. My problem isn't so much about you playing hero. It's a given. It's about you remaining Spider-Man when there's a $5 million reward on your head. Are you saying that you honestly wouldn't mind if I continued to fight crime just as long as I wore some stupid hooded sweatshirt instead of a Spider-Man costume? Well, maybe we should put our heads together and come up with a totally new identity, which isn't quite so fashion challenged. Well, considering it's the 90s, it is quite fashion challenged, the identities. Oh, but I love them. They're great designs. Well, it's a great design. The Amazing Peter Parker, Spider-Man. It's got Maki, Romita Jr. and Hannah. My favorite artist combination, Romita Jr. and Hannah, doing the inks and the art. I just love how he does it, and I think he's making a few less risks than he made earlier in the story. Looks like the proportions are a bit more accurate, but you know, John Romita Jr. He's always been one of my favorite artists. He's been doing it since the 80s, and he even did an issue with his dad. He did Happy Birthday with John Romita, who was the Spider-Man illustrator from issues, gosh, I think issue 35, 34 onwards. I don't know if Ditko carried on after the final battle. At least issue 50 onwards. I mean, he did a lot of the Peter Parker and University era. Yancey Street. Oh, I told you we shouldn't have gone walking in this part of town. Yancey Street? Who goes to Yancey Street looking for a place to eat? I distinctly remember saying, Peter, let's go to the Upper West Side tonight. But no, someone at the Bugle recommended Algerian cuisine down here. Good thing we didn't go uptown. We'd have missed all the fun. Fun? When you put on that costume, you're no longer the amazing web slinger, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You're a Spider-Man, wanted felon. The masked vigilante who beat up the poor, helpless Norman Osborn and murdered some low-life criminal named Joey Z. No one is going to believe that Norman is the supervillain known as the Green Goblin, or that Joey Z was murdered to frame you. All they know is that you, Spider-Man, have a $5 million bounty on your head. And there isn't a person in the city, policeman or civilian, who hasn't thought about how to collect it. So, can you explain to me exactly why you have to put on that costume? Because it's what I do, and because we did decide to come down here for dinner, and because of that, it started on Yancey Street again. Go, Peter, help them, but for once, be careful. You know me, unfortunately I do, so there's like some hurricane going on. This is actually a really cool minimalist page. Well, a lot of stuff's going on, but like the actual figures and things in the illustration are quite simple in the drawing. I love it. I never pay attention to the colorist, Gregory Wright, but I know it's all in inks and the pencil art. It is Moderator Supreme, Amy, and she says, "Greetings, Rob. I'm sorry I'm late." Hey, buddy. Bro fist. Hey, it's not late. You're in another chapter of Spider-Man, and this one isn't necessarily connected to the last one, so you haven't missed anything. Don't worry about it. So let's go. Go, Peter. Help them, but just for once, be careful. You know me. Unfortunately, I do. The cat carrot. I'm just going to say this is a bit of a weird chapter with loads of supernatural stuff, and it's kind of nonsensical, but it's kind of fun. The chapters are a bit hit and miss towards the end of the story, but I like that things kind of get a bit easier. Amy says, "Perfect timing. How are you today?" I'm good, thanks. I went to Bromley today. I got this fantastic bag. It looks like some kind of vaporwave thing. And I got loads of comics, and I'm feeling good. I'm having such a great time reading Spider-Man comics today. I'm loving it. How are you doing, Amy? You ready to kick some ass as a moderator? Let me just have a quick sip of tea. Tea? Water. I didn't drink tea today, listeners and readers, because I didn't want to have to take any toilet breaks. So I'm just having water, which is obviously the anti-diuretic. The cat, Kara. You had to come back for the cat. Yes, Ben, I did. I've had Baline ever since I was a kid, and I wasn't about to let her get sucked into a black hole thingy. Bad enough McGregor's coffee shop at my best show at the summer job just disappeared. Do you two mind shutting up? I'm fighting for our lives here. Oh, nice. Amy says, I bought the Kingsman graphic novel today. Mate, the Kingsman movie was so good. That's a Marvel comic, isn't it? I'd be happy to borrow that after you're finished with it. This is cool. I got some graphic novels today as well. I got The Vision, the one where Vision starts a family of visions, and It looks really weird. These editions are so nice, by the way. Only £9. You can get them from the comic shop in Bromley. You can get them from Forbidden Planet. I recommend it to all. Chill, Duncan. Don't waste your energy talking. You just hold on real tight till this thing passes. Guys, I don't think I can hold on much more. Are we gonna die? No one dies here. We stick together. We survive. My sentiments exactly. Spider-Man, don't hurt us, man. Yeah, I had nothing else to do, so I thought I'd wander into the middle of a supernatural phenomenon and kill 3 teenagers who are fighting for their lives. Be quiet and hang on. Despite what the papers say, I'm one of the good guys. And when we're done here, if you could clue the police into that fact, I'd be mighty grateful. I think they don't really trust me. Do you think it could be my mask? I'm telling you, Sarge, I could hit him from here. Or you could nail one of the sieves. Let it play out. We'll nail him after this thing blows over and when the kids are out of harm's way. Sarge, what is that thing? Your guess is as good as mine. Hold on. I'm trying, but my jacket... Wait, please, help us, please! No! And they got sucked into the vortex. They're gone, sucked into that black hole. It's closing. Gotta go after them. Sorry, Mary Jane, I've got to. No! Shock? So I don't know who this guy is, but he's a superhero from issue 80. I don't know. What comic is this? It's not Amazing Spider. I think it's Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. Shock, newest super guy. What are you doing here? You've got to help those 3 kids before. Not without me. I owe you for your help with that madman, Brown. Besides, this energy anomaly seems to be somehow tied into the source of my own powers. I was halfway across the city when I felt it pulling at me. Look, you need some way to get back. I think I've got it. Take this, it's part of my dark force. I'll try and keep the rift from closing completely. When you've got them, squeeze this and I'll try to pull you back. Try? Now you have the time for questions. Go! So we're about to see one of Spider-Man's new costumes for the Identity Crisis. He gets given a new costume here, very conveniently. So as silly and weird as this chapter is, it's important for the later story. And I kind of enjoyed it. It's like a Doctor Strange story without Doctor Strange. It's pretty cool. That's about as careful as I thought you'd be, Peter. A split second later, reality changes for Spider-Man and 3 teenagers from Yancey Street. Where are we? I don't know, but we've got to try to stick together. Oh, I love the art here, by the way. It's so beautiful colours, and it looks so surreal and weird. It looks like a kind of shirt that Will Smith would wear in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I love it. Poor kids, they've got to be scared out of their minds. My heart is pumping. Pretty good, and I recognise the place. Made a trip through here not too long ago during the return of those heroes from that strange universe. I think I heard Reed Richards call this the distortion field, a portion of subspace where matter is converted into antimatter and vice versa. People forget, Spider-Man is very smart. It leads to the negative zone, another portion of subspace where everything is comprised of antimatter. But why did that pinhole open up between the 2 universes? Is it a natural phenomenon, or who am I kidding? You don't have to be a genius like Mr. Fantastic to figure out that I never have that kind of luck. Okay, looks like I'm coming in for a landing. Now, as I recall, Dr. Richards telling me, the distortion field actually engulfs objects passing through it with enough of a vapor cushion to enable a speedy and safe entry through the atmosphere. Time to see if Mr. Fantastic, the modest one of the Fantastic Four, really lives up to his title of smartest man on Earth. Personally, I'm hoping he does. Oh, not bad. A little costume change, maybe a few bruises, but otherwise, Reed's title stands. What the? All the smoke and explosions? What did I do? Land in the middle of LA? I'm guessing not. I'm thinking a good old-fashioned George Lucas-inspired Rebels vs. the Evil Empire Rebellion is taking place. As much as I'd love to jump into the fray, since I do love a good fight, but it really is hard to tell who are the good guys and who are bad. Not to mention I've got 3 stray Earth teens wandering around here somewhere, and that can play havoc with intergalactic diplomatic relations. Gotta say, I'm not having so many tongue twisters today, I'm just diving into it. Look at this awesome display, by the way. I hand it to John Romita Jr. Because he did a lot of team up with Doctor Strange kind of stuff in Straczynski's run. He can really draw the surreal space battles. It feels like something Steve Ditko would be proud of. I love it. Oops, problem solved. The bad guys would be the ones blasting the building with the women and children and leading the three kids away at gunpoint, I guess I know which side I'm going to be on. Whoa, someone seems to have spotted the alien outside and my danger sense seems to be on the fritz. I hate it when they call the spider sense danger sense. It reminds me of the 1963 when they didn't know what to call it. Ah, fine, I made a setback. I can deal with it. I've got more tricks up my spider sleeve than these aliens have ever dreamed of. But first I'll try a little diplomacy. Take me to your leader. I come in peace. So much for diplomacy. Time to show you all why I'm called the Web Slinger? Great. I always sing the praises of John Romita Jr., but here's my favourite Spider-Man artist. I love how he captures movement and makes Spider-Man seem really dynamic in his movement. The fight scenes are all really awesome when he draws them, and I want him to come back to Spider-Man, but I do love the current artist. I can't remember the current artist's name, but he does a really good job of making stuff look cartoony. Who the? Excuse me, I was handling it, and if you don't mind me asking, where did you come from? This battle is not of your concern, Off-Wilder. So there's a guy wearing just an all-black costume. Actually it is. I travelled a long way to rescue you guys, dressed just like these three kids. Just dragged off. I'm not leaving without them. If you really wish to help Off-Wilder, you will aid me in fending off the Imperial troops while my forces launch an attack on their fortress. Your three friends would have been brought there. Help us, and we will help you. Dusk. The Emperor has offered to reward well the man who brings in the rebel leader's head. So Dusk is the name of one of the identities that Spider-Man takes up later on. It's just a costume made for stealth. It's all black. It looks really cool. I like it. You're sounding like my kind of guy, Dusk, but you want to fill me in exactly on what cause I'm fighting for? I'd hate to wind up on the wrong side. The Imperial forces are using a weapon which will rip through the space-time continuum and allow their armies to conquer another dimension. Of course, bit ridiculous, but who cares? I'm into it. That which I believe to be your dimension, and in the process, this planet, my planet, will be destroyed. We are fighting for the very existence of this world, and quite possibly that of yours. Good cause. Ah! You got to hold them there. I'm on it. This armor seems pretty sturdy. Should be able to accomplish what I need without hurting anyone too much. Nothing like an avalanche to slow him down. Whoa! Where are you taking him? Dusk has fallen. The day is lost. But the rebellion, your planet! It can't be allowed to end this way. Not without a fight. I won't let it. Short time later at the rebel stronghold. Come, Off-Wilder, I have a request to make. But first, tell me why you have transversed the distortion field to come to our world. The protection of the innocents. Then, we do have much in common. Come, I will speak with you in private. I offer you a way to accomplish your goal, to save the lives of the three young Off-Worlders and a way to save an entire planet. How can I? You must lead the rebel forces against the Imperial fortress. How? Your people won't follow me. It's very Star Wars. No, but they will follow me. You must don this costume. Dusk was a rebel leader of mythic proportions. He was? The true Dusk disappeared some time ago. I am not he. I was only one of his loyal captains. We choose to take up his mantle when he was captured. He chose to take up his mantle when he was captured by Imperial forces and shunned into the distortion field. This goes perfectly with the music here, by the way. I'm loving it. Without Dusk, the rebellion will fall into disarray. All I ask is that when you find him, you return the costume to the him who is Dusk. Take it. We have little time. I'm just going to cough for a moment. One moment. There we go. Turned the mic down. I'm learning pro level strats here. Take it. We have a little time. The Imperial Fortress. That is a cool looking fortress. I'm such a John Romita Jr. fanboy. How curious. Energy readings from these free Earth-welders are quite unique. It appears that the passage through the distortion field has altered their genetic structure. This may be the key to opening a permanent rift within the space-time continuum. The Emperor will be most displeased. Perhaps before he arrives, a simple vivisection of one of them will yield further clues. Flippin' heck! Vivisection. I hope these guys don't appear any longer because I've given them a voice that really hurts my throat. That's what the water's for. Good old GOW. Glass of water. Over my dead body. That is the point, dear boy. Nice. The alien quadruped. Keep it away, gods! It's a cat! Wow! Make a run for it now! I love that they were saved by a cat or an alien quadruped. Look at Neko, little buddy. That's lovely. Ben, Kara, stay together. We can do this. We can escape. We can survive. You sure? They're kind of big, Duncan. Big and slow. Will. Oh, hope I'm not stealing your thunder, kid. And if it's any consolation, I'm sure you could have gotten away, but I just thought you might not mind an assist. You dare enter the fortress? Yes, I dare. And I brought some friends. Game over. Not yet. At last we meet. Dusk, you have been a thorn in my side for too long. I should have crushed you as I crushed your parents instead of attempting to merely exile you. Today I make amends for past mistakes. Lord Basar, before you go on, I do wish to point out that a certain genetic anomaly in the three of welders which could help us with... Silence! Oh boy, wasn't counting on him being the Emperor. Duncan, I want you to follow these people. They'll get you to safety. I love how he just like makes them explode. He's like, silence! He does not treat his henchmen very nicely. They need to start a union. Duncan, I want you to follow these people. They'll get you to safety. I'll join you soon, but I've got one more job to do. What are you going to do? Nothing much. Just try not to get killed and save the planet. Easy. You will fail on both accounts. That's the best you've got? You have Blastar? You know, my old buddy the Human Torch at the Fantastic Four told me you were a heavy hitter. And now this. To say I'm disappointed is an understatement. You mock me? Yeah, I guess I do. Where are you, Rebel? Come and fight me like a man! How about I fight you like a cowardly cur who skulks in the shadows? By the way, nice hair! Nice. I rule supreme in the negative zone. What makes you believe that you can stop my imperial march across the distortion field? You, an insignificant backwater rebel. I laugh at your impudence. Keep on laughing, but whether you know it or not, your forces are going to lose today. And once they do, once the word gets around that the negative zone, that Blaster is not so unstoppable, you're going to have every backwater planet rising up in rebellion. Then, what are you going to do? Crush them all! As I have countless worlds before this one, as I will crush you! You know, I'm not feeling too crushed right about now. Dusk never engaged in idle banter. He was an enemy to be respected, to be feared. Silent as a bird of prey, struck from the shadows. You are as clumsy and as weak as he was stealthy and powerful. If there ever existed a man who could challenge me, it was Dusk. You are clearly not him. Sounds to me like you respected, maybe even feared this guy. Nice kicking him in the butt, that's pretty funny. I fear no one! I am Blastar! What have you done? The best I could figure out. This fortress of yours was your weapon. And given the amount of energy you're dealing with here, I figured that you had to have a pretty extensive cooling system built into the walls, so by bouncing around and getting you to do the human bomb blast thing, we essentially eliminated the coolant system. Without the coolant, yeah, well, I don't know about you, but I'd say it's time to boogie. I love how he can fly like a flying squirrel, like Ray the Squirrel in Sonic the Hedgehog, who is a great character. I would love to one day play 4-player Sonic. I don't know why I do that. I'd love to play 4-player Sonic. Come at me, bros. This is so cool. I get to fly and I have an entire world singing my praises. Now, if only I could figure out a way to carry some of this goodwill back home. Guess I should make the speech now. People of Tarsu, the Imperials, you have been rooted. You can reclaim our planet. And I must leave to carry on the fight elsewhere, but when the need is greatest, Dusk will be here. At that moment, you've done well, Off-Worlder. The rebellion is guaranteed to continue in his name, but it is far from over. He, the true Dusk, must return. Please, find him. You guys ready to head on home? Can we? Can you? Here's hoping. Oh, is that an advert? Better not be an advert. No, it's not. Sorry to ruin the verisimilitude there, everyone. Hang on tight, because I have no idea how this is going to work. Ready when you are. Back already. You weren't gone a couple of minutes. See, I told you it wouldn't be so hard. Easy for you to say. All you had to do was hold open an interdimensional portal. Speaking of which, if you'll stand clear... That is you, isn't it? Yeah, but don't say anything. The real me is none too popular right now, and I don't mind basking in a little hero worship for a change. I love it. Mary Jane, I've got to let her know it's me. Not too obvious that that's Spider-Man. Oh well. I love you too, Peter. The start of a whole new beginning, or at least for the next 2 months. So that is the origin of Dusk, and we're going to see the origin of the bombastic Bagman in this chapter. Yes, the greatest superhero of all time. This is a bit of a weird one, this chapter, but I love it. Should take a quick drink. You can't beat a GOW. Oh, Rachel, I know you're married to my mother's stepfather, but I love you, darling. I've always loved you. But Brent, can't you see that this isn't right? That right and wrong don't matter, darling. So this is some funny story. Amy says, Bago Man. Bago Man is like my favorite slang. Not Bago Man, Bag Man, as in a bag-themed superhero. You gotta see it to believe it. True believers. So let's go back to that TV show. Right and wrong don't matter, darling, where love is concerned. Oh, Brent. Great. Brent. Sorry to interrupt your idiocy, New York, but... Oh, for heaven's sake, will you just adjust the camera, you idiot? Got it, Chief. Well, so this chapter is called Through the Looking Glass, and it looks very fairy tale-like. Where was I? Good day, New York. I'm the White Rabbit. Queen of crime, mistress of mayhem. I speak to you from my secret lair, the rabbit hole, where, as you can plainly see, I hold 2 captives who need no introduction. Tremble in terror as you witness your greatest heroes, the grizzly and the gibbon, the boy monkey, helpless and in my throat. Yes, the greatest heroes New York had. Come on. Come on, at least, you could at least get a B-grade hero. You get some E-grade heroes that appeared in the 80s as Spider-Man villains and became good guys. That's the point. And I promise you this, if the mayor doesn't turn over $1 billion in gold to me by midnight tonight, this dynamic duo is doomed. Don't do it. Don't give in to their nefarious demands. We'll get out of this, you hear me? Will, Grizzly, shut your big furry mouth. And where did a dunce like you ever hear the word nefarious? Look, citizens of the city, and see what awaits these brave souls down below in the pit of doom. Genetically mutated killer bunnies, capable of eating a man alive in seconds. Whoa. What do it be, Mr. Mayor? Life or death? The decision is yours. Okay, cut, that's a wrap. Oh, I was wonderful, wasn't I? Wonder if they give Emmys for melodramatic terrorist speeches. You were brilliant, dear. I agree. Pamela Lee couldn't have given a more moving performance. I don't know who Pamela Lee is. 90s Spider-Man comics. You do this to me with references I don't know, but they did this in the 60s too. Absolutely. On behalf of the Dormouse and myself, the malevolent Mad Hatter, I can sincerely say that we're proud to be your partners in crime. Unquestionably. Wow. Mr. Mayor! Mr. Mayor! It was horrible. She blacked out all the channels. Preempted Jerry Springer. Wow, so 90s. Did you see it, sir? On the television? Sir? White Rabbit, Killer Bunnies, Grizzly and Gibbon. Then it's safe to assume, sir, that we're not paying the ransom. Oh, man. So yeah, next part. So the meeting with Hobie went well. That's Hobie Brown, and it happened in this month's Sensational Spider-Man, Snacky. Great, but I've still got a lot of work ahead of me. It's a good thing I stumbled on that dust costume while I was traipsing around the negative zone. It'll make my life easier. I'm really excited about all this, Peter. I think it's a terrific idea. Well, you would, Mary Jane. After all, you thought of it. True, and a brilliant bit of cogitating. It was. Sorry, I tripped over that word there. I was reading it faster than I could speak it. I mean, let's face it, with the anti-Spider-Man hysteria at an all-time high, it's the only way to go. You can't show your web face out there without half the population of the Western Hemisphere gunning for you. But that doesn't mean you should stay at home hiding under the covers. Take a quick sip of tea? Tea? Water? I wish it was tea. But if it were tea, I would be going to the restroom a lot. So I'm going to end the stream in 33 minutes. But for now, let's enjoy this story. It's one of the funniest Spider-Man stories I've read, in my opinion. And it's a treat. Come on, let's go. I think it might actually also be the last issue in this book. I know there's one more after this, possibly. So any other wife would be begging me to hang it up. Forget about the superhero. But you, after all we've been through, you're actually encouraging me. I know you, Peter. I know what drives you. I don't like the fact that you spend so much of your time leaping over buildings in a single bound and risking your life to save people you don't even know. But it's who you are. It's one of the reasons I love you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You know that? Uh-huh. Peter and Mary Jane. So sweet. I love it. I've been working on the sketches a little more. I really like the idea you had for the bounce, ricochet, whatever, but I made a few alterations. I hope you like it. Gotta be running around with a sweatshirt over my head, like in issue 433. Ricochet is a design that looks objectively lame today, but I think he's pretty cool because I found out who he was in the 90s. Here's one I cooked up all on my lonesome. I'm calling him the Archetype. What kind of name is that? A superhero needs a name that people can relate to. Something with pizzazz. How about the Sensational Sentry? Is there a TV show with that name? That's the Sentinel. Still too close. What about the Protector? Or... What's so funny? Let's go inside and have a look. That wasn't a very convincing laugh, I'm sorry. All those people are gathered around the TV sets. Maybe they're watching a Seinfeld rerun. Now that's I get that reference. That's not on till tonight. Think Al Gore's giving a speech? Peter, they're laughing, not sleeping. Wow. Alright then, I wonder. And people are laughing. I'm not getting bothered. Nah. There we go. That fake laugh, forced laugh doesn't ever sound good. I'm sorry. What? Oh no! I speak to you from my secret lair, the rabbit hole, where, as you can plainly see, I hold two captives who need no introduction. Tremble in terror as you witness your greatest heroes, the Grizzly and Gibbon the boy monkey, helpless in my thrall. Wow, it's definitely like the old Spider-Man, the old Batman TV show. Yeah, my heroes for you. Well, I guess it could be worse. They could have gotten themselves captured by the Big Wheel. Do you know those fruit cakes? Don't ask. Big Wheel is another crappy D-list supervillain who chased Rocket Racer, who was a D-list, I don't know what he was, D-list character And yeah, I think that was in Web of Spider-Man that happened. Which I've got a black and white edition of Web of Spider-Man issues 1 to 20. I love Web of Spider-Man. It's where the story Kraven's Lost Hunt originated from. And lots of cool stuff. Lost Hunt. I hope... H-U-N-T. I hope that didn't sound bad when I said it in the stream. You know there's fruitcakes? Don't ask. You're going to rescue them, aren't you? Look, the Grizzly and the Gibbon may not be too bright. In fact, they might have been the most inept bad guys I ever faced. But they're really trying hard to straighten out their lives and make something of themselves. The rabbit, on the other hand, may be ridiculous, but she's a total psycho. She might actually kill those two. So wholesome. Pete, real hero. It's all about forgiving. Just as I am when I play the game Settlers of Catan, and I put the bandit in the middle of the board for peace. I did that the other day when playing Settlers of Catan. It was hilarious. I loved it. But you can't just go out there as you-know-who. You can't go out as Spider-Man. Who will he go as? I'm just going to have a quick cough. One moment. You can hear me now. I'd run home and grab the dusk suit if I had time, but I don't think he could wear the dusk suit under his clothes because it's from the negative zone. I don't know why. Sometimes a guy's just gotta think on his feet. This couldn't have worked out better if I'd planned it myself. And come to think of it, I did. Ah, Petey, you dear stupid boy. How you must be twisting in the wind. I should just stop for a while, let your fear and paranoia build to mammoth proportions. But I don't know if I... Osborn! Afternoon, Jonah. I want to talk to you. Something on your mind, old friend? What are you all looking at? This is a private conversation. What the devil is this? It appears to be a piece of paper. It's the blasted memo that was waiting on my desk this morning. And you know it. Memo? About your memoirs. About the appointment you made for me with this hack who's ghosting them for you. That's ghostwriting. Ghosting meant a very different thing in the 90s. You don't really think I'm going to sit down with him and sing your praises, do you? You don't think I'm going to let you use me any more than you already have? I feel sorry for Jonah with Osborn taking control of the paper, but don't worry, it's not permanent. It's not permanent at all. Jonah, my irascible comrade? I'm going to have to look that up in the dictionary later. This project seemed to be the best way to combat the spurious image of the Osborn family that Benric's libelous book created in public consciousness. After the kidnapping of my grandson by the Green Goblin, people are finally beginning to understand that I have nothing to do with that costume mania. Of course, Osborn. We believe you. That. These memoirs will tell my side of the story in compassionate detail, clearing my family's sullied name once and for all. And if I can't depend on you, my dear friend and partner, to help me by sharing you memories of my warmth and generosity, then warmth and generosity, you've got a warmth and generosity of a snake, you miserable son of a... Jonah, you don't have to do anything. You don't want to. It's just upsetting to you. If it's that upsetting to you, just forget it. No harm done. Oh, by the way, I've been reading a lovely book of poems lately. I believe the author is a favourite of your wives. Oh, man. Dude. Not cool. He's blackmailing him. You do anything to hurt my wife, you animal, and you will live to regret it. On the other hand, maybe you won't live to regret it at all. What's up with him, Mr. O? Nothing to worry about, Eugene. Jonah goes all apologetic if he so much as gets a hangnail. The man needs to learn how to relax. What's on the agenda in today's agenda, my boy? Well, you've got a lunch appointment with the editor, who's working on the book with you, and then a meeting with the people from the AIDS charity, and then dinner with Senator Roberg at the Osborn Foundation, and the car will be here to pick you up in 20 minutes. You really enjoy this, don't you, my boy? Flash Thompson is such a wholesome character. Man, he really turns it around. I mean, it was in Web of Spider-Man where Peter Parker had a talk with him about how he bullied Peter in school, and it's interesting to see his perspective of it, because he didn't really think he was bullying Peter, but he was quite apologetic about it, and it turned out that Peter was a bit out of order to him at school as well. It was a really interesting piece of writing, and I'll be honest, Peter can be a bit of a dick towards Flash Thompson. It's not one-sided, so it was cool that they've addressed that, and Peter and Flash are friends now. They've forgiven each other. I really like that. So I'll be honest, there was someone in my secondary school who used to bully me, and I was really upset by it. I didn't like it at all. I kind of didn't want to go to form time, homeroom, that's what we call it in England. I didn't want to go to form time, I wanted to avoid it. One day after school had finished, and like 2 years after it finished, I saw him in the street, and he looked really ashamed of himself when he saw me. He tried to skulk away, he turned his head, and I thought, you know, he must feel really bad about what the things he said to me and did to me in school. I'm going to just forgive him. And I went up to him and shook his hand, and I felt great about it. And it's one of the things, it's really nice to see that Peter Parker and Eugene Thompson, two people who really didn't like each other in school, can just put their differences aside and be friends, and even become really great friends later on in the series. It's really nice to see. That ends the real talk for a moment there. Back to comics. No need to go that far, Eugene. You get strong, you build a new life. Make yourself proud. Make yourself proud, my boy. Make me proud too. It's a shame that Norman Osborn's faking it. I'm strong, Grizz. Strong as an ape, but I can't bust out of these things. Looks like we're total flops as superheroes before we even start. All we did was try and stop a bank robbery, and look where it got us. We should have stayed hooked up with the Spot and the Kangaroo. At least then we'll be safe in jail instead of being lunch for a bunch of man-eating bunnies. Remember our classic Legion of Losers? Oh, that's a mean name for a comic. Don't worry, kid. I've just got to say, the Grizzly has one of my favourite Spider-Man chapters where he has a fight with Spider-Man, and Spider-Man deliberately lets him win. And he knows that he deliberately let him win. He also knows that he tried his best, and he decides to stop being a supervillain. It's really nice. It's such a wholesome comic chapter. It's really sweet. I love it. Don't worry, kid. We'll get out of this. It's going to work out great. Believe me. I mean, we got every TV station in New York carrying us. Once we bust free and take that wacky rabbit woman down, we're going to be on Easy Street. Toy Biz is going to be begging to do action figures with us. But how are we going to break free? If I can just get my hands on my trusty utility belt. So this was before superhero movies were a thing. Action figures were where the money was at. It's interesting. I'm running low on water, but I'm also running low on pages, so it's good. Grizz, what? You don't have a utility belt. Oh. Hey look, Piggers is back. The city is trembling, waiting, terrified by my every word. The mayor himself is at my mercy. Oh, I love being a criminal mastermind. You know, you never did tell us how you started out in this business. It's a charming tale, no pun intended. Once I was a bored bubblehead, married to a multi-millionaire businessman. I liked for nothing, but material pleasures, alas, couldn't satisfy me. I craved thrills and excitement, two things my husband, lethargic Lewis Dodson, didn't provide, which isn't all that surprising at the time. I was 25 and he was 82. It's a bit of an age difference. After I cleverly knocked Lewis off, and believe me, he died happy. Oh, I wonder what that means. I'll leave that to the imagination. I used his fortune to remake myself as the White Rabbit. I became the most feared evildoer in the tri-state area. But time and time again, I fell foul of my arch nemesis, Spider-Man. Yeah, time and again. It was twice. And I wouldn't exactly say you were the most feared evildoer in the tri-state area. I mean, let's face it, most people have never heard of him. Who asked you? Kong. Did you just kick him into a giant teacup? Brilliant. Your Imperial Highness. Yes? We got an answer from the mayor. Yes, yes. He's made us a counteroffer. Yes, yes, yes. Of $2.50. I asked for $1 billion in gold and he offers me $2.50. $2.50? It ain't that bad, Grizz. I mean, that's $1.25 each. Oh, shut up. Nice. I'm hopping mad now. Keith, Andrew, Kevin. God, those two nincompoops. The rest of you come with me. We're breaking out the flying hare. It's time the mayor learned how deadly a bunny can be. Start the motor, load up the bombs, and bring me my carrot juice. We gotta get out of here. Our 2 paltry lives don't mean anything. We gotta protect the city we were born to serve or die trying. Gosh, Grizz, that's beautiful. Yeah, ain't it? I read it in an old comic book. So that's where you got the word nefarious from. I can't believe I'm actually having fun doing this. I think taking an active part in Peter's life as a superhero is actually empowering me. Helping me brainstorm, working up the costume. It sure beats sitting by the window, sighing and worrying when my hobbies get home. Maybe I could turn this into a career. Peter certainly knows enough people in the long underwear business. By the way, that's a reference to the first issue of Spider-Man Amazing Fantasy 15, where they mentioned that superheroes are referred to as long underwear characters, and I love it when they reference the first issue of Spider-Man, albeit subtly. I can design and create new costumes, consult with them when their public image is slipping. The trick would be to land a really big account like the Avengers. They've got something like 8,000 members, and some of them, the costumes are so tacky, especially 90s Avengers. They've been upgraded now, though, I feel, because they've been made to match the films. Mary Jane! Oh, Aunt Anna! Stash the stuff, girl. What's the matter? You look miserable. I guess I'm still... so this is some soap opera stuff. Let's get it over with. It's pretty interesting. But pretty soap opera-like. I guess I'm still embarrassed about what happened the other day. You mean Peter? When you accused him of being unfaithful to me? It took you coming up with that ridiculous story about him being Spider-Man to make me realize what fool I must have sounded like. Yes, very foolish. But what got into you? I mean, you know Peter better than that. Do we really know another person? Do we really know ourselves? What is it, Anna? What's wrong? Living here with you and Peter, being around a young married couple, day after day, it's affected me. Made me think about things that happened so many years ago when I was young. When I was first married. Married? You were married, but you never told me. I never told anyone. I was 18, hungry and reckless. I'd gone out to California chasing my dreams, thinking I was going to be an actress. You too? Guess it runs in the family. Anyway, that's the moment I met Robert. Hey, I'm Robert! I don't think we knew each other 3 weeks when we got married. We didn't stay married very long, and it ended badly, very badly. He cheated on you, didn't he? And that's when you got crazy about Peter, when you thought about the same thing could be happening to me. No, Mary Jane, you don't understand. He wasn't the one who had me there. I was. This very soap opera. Well, let's move on from the soap opera and back to the Spidey. Don't get me wrong, I usually love it when it's real life stuff in Spider-Man, but like, come on. Gently, gently, now on my command. Hey, check it out, must be some kind of publicity stuff. Yeah, I bet you there's a new Roger Rabbit movie coming along. Bombs away! Out! Wow, that's actually very dangerous. She's dropping bombs on the city. That's messed up. I don't know about this, MH. What if people get hurt? Don't worry about it, DM. I'm aiming away from the crowd. The sight of blood makes me nauseous. What are you two morons whispering about? Nothing, your whispered majesty, nothing. Put me on loudspeaker. I have a message for the mayor. You're on. Attention. Mayor, this is the White Rabbit speaking. Due to your insulting counteroffer, my asking price has gone up to $5 million, and I want that in quarters. In quarters, wow. If you don't comply, I'm gonna bomb Manhattan back into the Stone Age. Let's see what that does for your education program. So I told you that we should have offered at least $50. Oh, shut up! And out of the night, a shadowed figure appeared, springs effortlessly, leaping for the White Rabbit's ascending ship. And through the unsuspecting masses below don't realize it, today a new legend is born. Mary Jane can see me now. Oh, get ready, guys. Well, here we are back at the rabbit hole, and how's that for a transition? Where it's time to bid a not-so-fond adieu to the buffoonish bear and his simian core. No hard feelings, Grizzly, but I don't need you anymore. Get ready for lunch, children, and be sure to eat your fill. Now, wait a minute, Rabbit. Maybe you'd better think this thing. What in the name of Chuck Jones? Nice. Nice cartoon reference there. Yes! Alright, lady. Turn over the grizzly gibbon and surrender. Who are you? The unknown comic? No, I'm the bombastic bagman. He's kidding, right? Yes. One can only hope. Considering what you're wearing, lady, I'd be careful with the insults. What are you imbeciles waiting for? Get him! Oh ho, the bagman laughs in the face of danger. Once I was a timid grocery store clerk, content to stuff other people's edibles into brown paper sacks. Then one day a lightning bolt shattered a shipment of exotic shampoos, splattering me with a once-in-a-lifetime mix of perfumes, herbs, and non-toxic chemicals. And I discovered that, in that auspicious accident, I had been transformed. Fate had given me superpowers. I could fly 12 feet above the ground. I had the strength of 2.5 men. And I had the uncanny ability to see in the dark without a nightlight. Shall we? Indubitably. That's definitely one of my favourite Peter Parker moments there. And where do you two think you're going? Mercy, mercy. We're not crooks, we're just a couple of out-of-work actors. The rabbit hired us to play her partners because she couldn't get any real supervillains to team up with her. Not even the big wheel? Not even the big wheel. Uh-oh. Traitors! I paid you more than SAG minimum. And this is the thanks I get? Now, you shall all die! I think this bunny motif is definitely getting tired. You do, eh? Well, eat hot carrots. Nice. Now to unmask this bagman and add his cow to my collection. Well, I don't actually have a collection yet, but a person's gotta start. Somewhere. It's over, Rabbit. You're finished. You, but how did you escape my pit of doom? You've got to take into account the boy monkey's natural affinity for the animal kingdom. He had your bunnies eating out of his hand in a matter of seconds. Yep, a little encouragement. They know it through our bonds. And now, nefarious evildoer, I'm gonna belt you from here to Wonderland. Chris, no, they'll never make an action figure of a hero who beats up on women. And I really wouldn't use the word nefarious twice in the same story. Gibbon. This is the 90s. They'd call me sexist if I didn't pound her one. I'm a bit problematic there, but we'll go through the rest of the story. And now, let's you and me give this bunny robot the old heave-ho and call it a job well done. What a sound effect. You two really are something. Bagman, you okay? Yeah, I just came to manage. I managed to tie these two William Shatner wannabes up. Actually, I was awake the whole time, and I saw Grizzly and Gibbon coming out of the pit. I figured I'd fake being knocked out so they could have a chance to take the rabbit down themselves. Ah, that's sweet. You knew what this superhero game meant, you kid. Well, yeah, you got talent, but I can see that, but it takes time to learn the tricks of this trade. To become a living legends like me and Boy Monkey here. Is that true, Mr. Grizzly, sir? I love it. Sure is. First of all, it takes courage and a fighting spirit. Really, sir? Not to mention the dedication to truth, justice, and all of that highfalutin. I don't know what that says, so I'm going to say bollocks. I love it when they censor words like that. Chris, watch your language. The most important thing a superhero needs is a partner. Jeez, Grizz, I'm touched. This way you can get 2 action figures on the market instead of 1. And then, if you change your costume around a couple of times, geez, you'll make a gosh darn mint. And debut new superheroes on the block. Grizzly and Gibbon stop the White Rabbit gang. Toy Biz offers new heroes major debut exclusively by Pamela Andrick. So I love that picture, by the way. It's great. Bag on your head? Actually, it was rather stylish in a ludicrous kind of way. Oh, come on, Anna doesn't want to join us. I think she needs to be alone tonight. She alright? I'll tell you about it later, okay? Sure. You know what the wildest part about today was? I had fun! I don't remember the last time I had fun as Spider-Man. Speaking of fun, wait till you see what I've got for you. You ordered something new from Victoria's Secret? Wow. Not exactly. What do you think? Well, it's not what I expected, but hey, you look sexy in just about anything. It's not for me, you idiot. It's for you. You bought me something. You bought me something from Victoria's Secret? Nice. It's a new costume I designed for you. Your chance to have all the fun you want and be on the cutting edge of superhero couture. Go ahead and try it on. You do wear tights well. You do wear tights well. Stop, you're embarrassing me. Now, let's get to work on your face. What's wrong with my face? Nothing that I can't fix, like a little makeup. Makeup! Ugh. And a new nose. What's wrong with my nose? Peter, a part of your face is exposed, so I thought I'd use some of my old theatre tricks to make a few changes. But a new nose? Hey, Orson Welles did it all the time. Take a look, Tiger. You know, this ain't half bad. Although the fake muscles itch like crazy. You know, between this and Dusk and the other two get-ups, no one will suspect that Spider-Man's still out there fighting a good fight. Let alone under 4 different names. And who knows, you might actually get the public to like you. You think I'll get my own cartoon on Fox? Nice. You will, if you use the name I came up with, Prodigy. Prodigy means person with exceptional talents or powers. It also means, I know what it means, so I use it under one condition. What's that? Leonardo DiCaprio plays me in Prodigy the movie. I'll give Jim Cameron a call first thing in the morning. Next, Prodigy. Who else? I actually think Prodigy looks pretty cool for a 90s superhero. So this was really cool, by the way. The variant covers for the Spider Hunt were like this. That's cool. I love that transformation. So that was the Spider Hunt, the end of that. I'm going to treat you to my favorite Spider-Man story ever, Identity Crisis, next. Okay, as you can see, I've bought a lot of comics in Comixology, and I recommend it if you want to read comics for a fairly cheap price. Tell you what I'll do. Let's put this on in the background. Oh, this looks nice. This is a remix by a scenic called Long Nights, and it looks really cool. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's stream as much as I've enjoyed it. I honestly felt that the last stream I did was a little mediocre. I rushed some of the stuff, and I thought it was okay at the beginning, but towards the end I was rushing it. So I really wanted to put my all into it today and do the voices, and I had a lot of fun with it. My next stream is either going to be the next part, the Identity Crisis, or it's going to be the game Celeste, which is one of my favorite games ever, and I'm actually pretty good at it, despite me not being so good at games usually. So I'm going to say, as an incentive to make people post on YouTube, post in the comments on YouTube, what would you prefer me to do, Celeste or Spider-Man? If you've watched this video already, when I post a YouTube video tomorrow on my Facebook page, please find it, say, or let me know on Twitter. My Twitter is NoLimitsRustant it's at NoLimitsRustant. But thank you. I hope you've enjoyed today. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night tonight. But please, during the next stream, think of any Spider-Man questions you want to ask me, because I know a fair amount about Spider-Man, and I'd be happy to answer them. But thank you. I've had a great time doing this and doing the voices. I think my Peter Parker voice is improving, and I'm loving it. So thank you. Please tune in next time for either Celeste or one of 4 amazing new superheroes. Well, new superheroes, they're not new anymore. They're very obscure and from the 90s. Thank you, and have a good evening. Have a good evening, everyone.